Good morning, boys and girls. It's good to see you all again. Are you going to say hello, Emily? Say hi, yeah. No, we got all shy. You going to say hi, yeah? Yes, there's a wee wave for you. It's good to see you all again. And this morning, we're going to try doing some remembering. So we've been learning a story over the last 4-6 weeks about someone in particular. And we're going to try seeing if we can remember some of the parts of that story. So, Emily, will we get a book out of the bookcase? Let's get a book out of the bookcase and see if we can find out what the story was. Let's see. Right, Emily, let's get some books from here. Yeah, I think we'll get that one and that one. Okay, let's get these books and see if we can find the story. Now, let's start with this book. Now, this book, let's see, here's the first page. It says, "That's not my mermaid, her crown is too bubbly." Is that the book we want to read? No, I don't think that was the story we were learning, was it? No, it definitely wasn't. What about this one? This one, the first page says, "I wrote to the zoo to send me a pet. They sent me an elephant. But he was too big and I sent him back." Now, I don't think that was the book, was it? No, that wasn't the story we were learning. What about this one? This one, it says, "In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon." Was that the book we were reading? No, that wasn't our story. I think we're going to have to ask all the boys and girls from Sunday school to see if they can help us to remember the story. Yes, Emily's so excited. So we're going to hear now from some of the boys and girls to help us remember some of the bits of the story that we've been learning.
Hi everyone. Moses was placed in a basket and put into the river because Pharaoh was looking to hunt baby boys. A princess found him and took him to Egypt. Bye! Moses led the Jews out of slavery in Egypt and led them to the Holy Land, and God had promised them. My favourite part was when God parted the Red Sea.
My favourite part when he discovered the name of snake.
And Ada's favourite part
Was
when he made
the
Moses
basket.
Can you tell me one thing that you remember from the story?
God sent the frogs everywhere.
One thing I learned from Exodus was that the angel of death, which was the 9th plague, came to Egypt one night, and then the Israelites had to kill one of their lambs and paint its blood on the front door so that they were saved. And every Egyptian first son that was born in the family was killed by the angel of death. God sent the bread down from heaven to feed the Israelites every single day.
My favourite part of the story was when the firstborn sons of Egypt died, but God's people didn't die because they put it blood around the doors, and also if we were good people then Calvin would have died. Bye.
When Moses was a baby, her mummy put him in a basket to keep him safe.
Good morning, boys and girls. Jasmine and I are going to tell you a wee story this morning about Moses, when Moses was born as a wee baby. Aren't we?
Yep.
Yep. Now, when Moses was born as a wee baby, there was a nasty king called Pharaoh, who was a jealous king and didn't want all of his land taken away from him from the Israelites. So he decided, and he put the word out in the order that all the baby boys had to be killed. So his mommy was so afraid. So what his mommy done was, his mommy got Moses into a Moses basket and she set Moses in the river. So his mommy placed Moses in the river. And when she went away, who came along, Jasmine? What do you call this wee person?
This is Miriam,
This is Miriam. And who's Miriam?
Moses' sister.
Moses' sister. And what did Moses' sister do? Bring her over. And what did Moses' sister do at the side of the river?
Watched it.
She watched over Moses, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Moses was in his wee basket in the river. And his wee sister was watching over him to see what would happen to him. And as time went by, his wee basket floated down the river, didn't it, Jasmine? And it floated on down the river, and it stopped at the side of the river. And who was standing by the side of the river? Who was this? Who's this princess?
It must be King's daughter.
The king's daughter. And what did you call the king?
Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. And this was Pharaoh's daughter, wasn't it? So Pharaoh's daughter was standing and noticed Moses' basket with wee Moses in it, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And she had called Miriam over because she noticed Miriam close by. So she called Miriam over, didn't she? And she said to Miriam to go and get Moses' mummy. She wanted to talk to Moses' mummy. And when Moses' mummy came along, the princess said to Moses' mummy that she would pay to have Moses looked after, didn't she? And when Moses was older, she had to give him back to the princess, Pharaoh's sister. Isn't that right? So, Moses' mummy obviously agreed, didn't she, to keep him safe and happy. She wanted Moses to be safe. So she went away and she looked after him. And the princess, what did you call the princess? That was whose daughter?
Pharaoh's daughter.
So Moses, when he was older, had to go back to Pharaoh's daughter, who wanted him back again. Isn't that right? So that was the agreement. And Moses went away with his mama to get looked after. But you know, she knew he was going to be safe. His mummy done this because she knew Moses was going to be safe. But one thing in this story was, even though he was taken away, his mummy, Moses' mummy, had a great faith and believed and trusted in God. Isn't that right, Jasmine? The same as we do? Isn't that right? Who do we worship?
God.
God.
What did you make, Miriam?
We made Moses crossing the Red Sea.
And how did he cross the Red Sea?
Because God sent the path.
God sent the path. And who was chasing them? Who's that chasing them?
It's Pharaoh.
Uh-huh. Why was he chasing them?
Oh,
He wanted them back, didn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was too far to catch them.
Uh-huh. And then what happened to Pharaoh?
The waves came down.
Uh-huh. God sent them down, didn't he?
Yes, and then Pharaoh was killed.
Uh-huh. He was. Anything else you want to say? Did you like doing the craft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Moses was on.
Uh-oh.
Hi, I'm Amelie. We've been learning in Sunday school this year about the life of Moses. We learned that Moses was a prophet and a leader. Above all, a man of God who lived a sinless, holy life. And God helped him to lead his people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Moses also led God's people safely across the Red Sea. Moses was chosen to deliver the 10 Commandments to his people, after meeting God face to face on Mount Sinai. These are the same 10 Commandments that we know today. Serve God and only God. Not to take the Lord's name in vain. Honour and obey our mum and dad. Not to steal. Not to covet or be jealous of something that our friends or neighbours have that we really want, and many more. He led his people out of bondage and slavery in Egypt to the promised land of Canaan.
Hi, I'm Jessica. We learned some great facts about Moses this year. Moses was born a long time ago in Egypt. In Egypt, there was a mean king, Pharaoh. He made all the people of Israel work very hard. They had no time to rest or eat. At that time, Pharaoh the king decided there were too many Israelites and they were too strong. So he told his servants to throw all the Israelite baby boys who were born into the river. Moses' mummy was very scared, so she placed him into a basket so she could keep him safe and tied him in the banks of the river Nile. He had a big sister, Miriam. He was found by Pharaoh's daughter. His mother was chosen to look after him as he grew up. They lived together in Pharaoh's palace. Moses was a courageous leader, and even though his life was difficult, he lived close to God.
Now, thank you to all the boys and girls who sent in their videos. We loved seeing you and hearing from you. And of course, knowing that you've learned the story and remember it is just great. And while you've been doing that, I've been off looking for a book that tells the story we've been learning. And I found the right one. Now, this is the Jesus Storybook Bible. Now, of course, the story we were learning, it's from the Bible, which is God's Word. It's not like those other books that we find that are just nice stories. This is true, and it tells us something that's very important. And I want to finish by just reading a little bit from this that helps us to remember a bit of the story. It talks about God's people, who was Israel back in the Old Testament. It says, every day of their journey, God kept on showing his people how well he would look after them if they would trust him and obey him. When they were hungry, God made the sky rain with food, bread coming down from heaven. What is it? They asked each other. They didn't know, so they called it, what is it? Which of course is a very good name for something that you don't know what it is. When they were thirsty and started quarreling, God made water flow from a rock. Moses called that place Quarreling, because that seemed like a good name too. And still God's children didn't trust him or do what he said. They thought they could do a better job of looking after themselves and making themselves happy, but God knew there was no such thing as happiness without him. So God led them to a tall mountain. God wanted to talk to his people and to show them what he was like. He wanted to help them to know him better and tell them about the special land he was going to give them. The whole earth belongs to me, God said, but I have chosen you. You are my special family. I want you to live in a way that shows everyone else what I'm like so they can know me too. And of course, we know from the Bible that God's people were not perfect. They kept doing things that were wrong. They didn't trust him. No matter what they tried, they could never be good enough. And of course, that's why all those years later, God sent Jesus, his son, and he was killed, not for anything wrong that he'd done, but in their place, so that those who are truly trusting in God can be forgiven for the wrong they do, which we call sin, and they can be part of God's family. And of course, that's the great thing that we learn from the story about Moses and the people of Israel. There were lots of interesting things happened and God showed his power. But the thing that we really learn is God is the rescuer. And he didn't rescue the people of Israel because they were really good or because they deserved it. He rescued them because he chose to. And of course, it was like a picture of what was going to happen later on. So thank you so much to all the boys and girls who sent in their videos and helped us to remember bits of the story of Moses. But I want you to remember that Moses just helps us really remember Jesus, who is God's real rescuer. And I hope you're trusting in him and you've asked him to forgive your sin because of what Jesus did. Now, it's great to see you again this morning, boys and girls. Tune in again next week and we'll have another video where we can learn something more for Sunday school. Bye!